We welcome you all to our Aerobic Winter Challenge Lunch and Learn. Today, Kathryn Nelson is going to be talking to us about building sleep for a better tomorrow, a topic I know I certainly need. Okay, Kathryn, take it away.
Well, thank you for inviting me, George. This is so nice, and I'm excited to participate in the Aerobic Winter Challenge. It's fun. It's keeping me active, so that's a good thing for sleep too, by the way. But I work as a health coach at Northern Arizona Healthcare, and I've been here for about 9 years, and I support our staff. Um, I like to say sleep is the single most important thing you can do to support your brain and body. It is literally the elixir of life. So I was wondering if by reactions or emojis, it's a little icon on your screen, that you could click on it if you're having any struggles with or kind of consistent struggles with sleep. I'm just curious how many people are experiencing. I don't think I can see the emojis. Well, anyway, if everyone could just do that, that would be kind of good to just see how many people that we're all in the same boat with some different kinds of issues. So that there's so many benefits of sleep, and sleep is not a waste of time. It is your body's time to repair, rebuild, and recover every single night. It is restorative and it builds resiliency. When we have resiliency in our day, we can have longevity in our career, in our parenting, and in all the things that is expected of us. Good sleep allows for the buildup of ATP overnight for tissue repair and cellular detoxification. So you can see the list here, and there's many more things. Even athletes, they'll do all these special sleep things to get just a little bit of edge over the other team they're playing the next day. So it's definitely a tool that is used in different ways, but it's a very powerful tool. We also generate and have a lot of different hormones that are involved with sleep. So when we have a poor night's sleep in the graph here, we're going to have more ghrelin, which increases our hunger, insulin, which increases fat storage, and all other kinds of issues. Higher cortisol, that can cause, cortisol is great for certain things and certain times of the day, and we'll talk more about that, but it can also increase fat storage as well. And then when we have a poor night's sleep, we're going to decrease our leptin, our satiety hormone, and our human growth hormone, which repairs tissue. So we want to have leptin and ghrelin in the right ratio, and we want to have the human growth hormone promoted by sleep. Melatonin is a little bit different. There's an inverse relationship between melatonin and cortisol. Too much stress before bed keeps cortisol high, which suppresses melatonin. So, and also blue light, which is found in every light in your house and electronic devices, also suppress melatonin. So we want to have our cortisol high in the morning and our melatonin high at night, and the inverse relationship of those each time of the day. So what happens when we sleep, we have this brain shampoo, or it's called a glymphatic system, and we want to be able to have that go into that deep sleep so that our brain cells, it's the only time. The rest of the time our brain's busy catastrophizing and keeping us alive and all those things. But when we're sleeping, our cells open up by 60% during sleep to allow that cerebral spinal fluid to go in and clear out those beta amyloid plaque and different things. And also, I'd like to say that sleep before midnight is more restorative, because this is when you get your bulk of deep sleep, which helps you feel more rested when you wake up. I use a Fitbit, and when I look at my sleep chart, I rarely get deep sleep after midnight. Maybe at 12:30 or 1, but the majority of my deep sleep, over an hour, is right when I go to sleep before midnight. I do go to sleep around 10. It doesn't matter, but it does matter. It doesn't matter when I go to sleep, but it does matter when you go to sleep. So I would really encourage sleep way before midnight, so you get that deep sleep in, and you will feel more rested when you wake up. And hopefully you have a really good brain shampoo every night. So I love the little icon here. So, who's tired? I think there may be a few people tired out there. We do experience that. I recommend, if you want to improve your sleep, be sure and assess for any kind of disordered sleep. Like I mentioned, I use a tracker to track my sleep, and I would encourage you to do that for a week if you do have a tracker. They're not perfectly accurate, but they do show you trends. So you can see the trends in your sleep, maybe based on stress or if, I've had a cold recently, my sleep wasn't that great. But my 25-year-old daughter has apnea, and it was such a shock. I mean, she was always exhausted and so tired and anxious, and now she uses a CPAP, and it's oh, someone said something. Yeah, and it's really changed her life. And you can also get an oral device from your dentist to adjust your jaw for less snoring and collapse of your throat musculature. Because as we get older and our body composition changes, we can have changes to our tissue in our throat and neck area that creates more apnea or difficulty breathing. So I think that that's a good place to start if you have any concerns about that at all. And we know that apnea increases the risk of stroke by 3 times. And this is just a list here of the different things that apnea can cause. And we want to make sure that we're not dealing with that. Sorry about my voice. So I have a list of things to improve your sleep. I think that's kind of what we all want to get to is, all right, we all have different sleep issues, different kinds of sleep issues. Maybe when, are we having trouble going to sleep, staying asleep? Are we waking up rested or not? So there's so many different things that we can do as we start our day to get going with sleep for that night. So I like to start with the sleep rule, and I cannot find the author of this, but I like the countdown, 10, 3, 2, 1, 0. A good night's sleep really starts when we wake up, setting our circadian rhythm with morning low angle light with no sunglasses increases that early day cortisol release and prepares our body for sleep. This light also sets our circadian clock to help our bodies anticipate when to wake and to when to sleep. So it creates that rhythm for us. And I think George and I were talking about that consistency in going to bed at the same time at night or close to and waking up at the same time. That's a really powerful suggestion for sleep. And you read about it a lot in any kind of sleep studies. So the first one is the caffeine and chocolate to cut it out 10 hours before bed. And a lot of people are slow metabolizers of caffeine. You may or may not know that about yourself, but I think it's something to experiment with and to know that caffeine is also found in chocolate, which is more my preference than coffee. But, so figuring that out, what works for you, but 10 hours is a great suggestion if you really are struggling with sleep. Don't eat or drink alcohol 3 hours before bed. Eating too close to bedtime takes away resources from our brain repair to digesting the actual food. And late night eating could also cause GERD. I'd also like to say that alcohol is not a sleep aid. It is a sedative, which fragments your sleep architecture and actually lowers the quality of your sleep. It also blocks your REM sleep. So we want that REM sleep, and that's what comes later in the evening. But if your liver is busy metabolizing the alcohol, you're not going to get that kind of sleep, and you're going to wake up more later on in the night. If you do want to drink alcohol, happy hour is truly the best time to drink it, around 5 to 6 p.m. That way that gives your liver enough time to metabolize the alcohol. Stop working 2 hours before bed. I like to say y'all shouldn't be working at night. Life demands rest and pleasure. So let's have a bedtime routine where we're not working at night. We're not, feeling stressed and busy. I mean, we have children, lots of other things going on, and that can keep us busy as well. Get away from your screens 1 hour before bed. Screen time is not only blue light, which we talked about suppressing our melatonin, but it is also can cause anxiety and a raise in cortisol. And a rise in cortisol is going to push against your melatonin, and it's going to make you feel more anxious and make you wake up more. So if we're watching true crime, scary things, stressful things, the news, anything like that, that's going to cause problems in addition to the blue light. Oh, I went crazy there. All right, let's see if I can get this right. So, and then getting up right when your alarm goes off or right at the same time is better for your central nervous system and feels less overwhelming than actual snoozing, even though I did snooze this morning. Confessions. And just a quick one on this is just setting yourself up for success in a lot of different ways, but potassium and magnesium are just some of the basic sleep nutrients.
Caleb? Yeah.
Okay. So just it mostly comes from leafy green vegetables and lots of healthy fats. So you see the sunflower seeds, pumpkin seeds, some fish and avocados. Those kinds of things are gonna build the nutrients you need to have better sleep.
Excellent. And Kathryn, just wanted to take a quick moment to tell everybody that we will do a Q&A at the end of the program. So if you could remain muted during the presentation, we'll get to questions at the end. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Thanks. So this slide's a little bit long because I was like, oh, I could have a bunch of slides or kind of put it all in one thing. So I'll just start with some different habits that could promote sleep. And I would suggest that you maybe pick one of these or one at a time to just see if one of them really makes a difference for you. Um, lavender essential oils is kind of that classic suggestion. Oh, use lavender spray or lavender pillow. But it's well researched for calming our central nervous system and promoting slow wave sleep. And that's the sleep we want to get into from the beginning. I also use lavender when I wake up in the middle of the night because I've created a cue for myself. So I can smell lavender before I go to bed at night. And then if I wake up in the middle of the night, I can have a little conversation with my brain saying, hey, it's not time to ruminate about whatever. It's time to go back to sleep. And so I use that as a cue that really I find helpful to go back to sleep. Blue blocker and device blockers on your computer. So my husband does not like my glasses, but I wear them at night and it's getting dark earlier, right? So we want to have some kind of either we want to dim the lights in our house. We want to have blocking devices on our devices. We want to have, if possible, have some glasses like this because it really does block out this color, the orange, completely. Supposedly, is how they're sold that they block 100% of the blue light. So that allows you at 6, 7 p.m. You can look at your devices, watch TV, or open your refrigerator, which is like a nuclear glow these days. They're really bright. So I really like using those, and I find that they really help because now I'm able to build up melatonin in my brain, which is the normal process that our pineal gland wants to do to help us sleep. Melatonin also not only helps you go to sleep, it sustains your sleep. So if you're having trouble waking at night, maybe some blue blockers would be good for you. Mattress quality. That could be a big thing. I just talked to someone recently who bought a new mattress and they feel like they're getting better sleep. I'd also like to ask you if you have dogs, cats, children, snoring partner, all kinds of other friends in bed that are disruptive to sleep. So that's something you can also consider switching up. A hot shower or a bath with Epsom salts is a great strategy for getting a better night's sleep because one, if you're using Epsom salt, magnesium sulfate will relax your muscle tissue, but also raising the temperature of your body with a hot shower, hot bath, and then cooling off is actual cue for sleep. It's a physiological cue for sleep. So I do that every night, and that is really helpful as well. Foot massage, you can use essential oils or there's a lot of different magnesium lotions. Our feet have acupressure points, which is very relaxing and soothing and a way to warm up your feet because warm feet are going to help you go to bed. I don't know if you guys have gone to bed with cold feet lately, but like I've got all my little lavender and all my stuff going on, and then my feet are cold, and I'm just so focused on my cold feet that all my other strategies are out the door. So making sure your feet are warm at night. I think electric blankets, a really heated bed is not quite the strategy because we want that cool, dark room at night. So warming your body up, letting it cool, being in a cool bed, but having, sorry, my nose, my throat, having warm feet is a really helpful tool. It's less distracting. Sound could be a really powerful tool. Some people use binaural beats. Those are the alternating sounds in your ears. White noise, green noise, pink noise, brown noise. There's a lot of different sounds right now. White noise sounds like static. Green noise is more like rain or water. Pink is a lower pitch sound like maybe leaves rustling, and brown is the lowest pitch like thunder. Thunder doesn't sound very well, it can be relaxing, but I always think of thunder as loud, but I think people have a preference for one sound over another. So I just wanted to share the different types of sounds that are available for you to stream or to use in different ways to see if that works for you. And then good old earplugs, that can always be a strategy to just block out all sound. Nasal strips, I really like the Breathe Right strips. They can open up your nose and allow you to breathe better. Mouth taping is a very new trend. Some people have success with it, but I'd really encourage you to read about it and read the pros and cons and make sure you are very capable of breathing through your nose with no deviated septum, no congestion like you're hearing in me right now, anything like that. A chin strap too, like you're going to look really hot when you go to bed, but a chin strap to keep your mouth closed could be another strategy if you feel like you're a mouth breather, and help you feel more rested when you wake up, because we want the nitric oxide to be able, when we breathe through our nose, we have more nitric oxide, which gives us, it's better for all kinds of things. I'm sorry, getting off track here. Melatonin is a supplement, and I would say that it's somewhat controversial, even though I feel like most people take melatonin. It's in a lot of different things that people can buy very easily. The only thing I would say about melatonin, it is a hormone, and dosing can be very high in some of those products that you purchase at Target or wherever. So you really need to pay attention to that and do your own research so that you don't want to take too much. You want to build it up naturally. So I feel like doing the ways, the blue blockers and other ways to build things up naturally is a better process. Meditation reduces cortisol and increases theta waves, which is our first stage of sleep. So that, at NAH now we have the Calm app for free, and that's a great way to, as a good nighttime practice. I'm so sorry. I sound so awful. Let's see. Oh, the last one, our thoughts. Oh my gosh. Isn't it like the worst thing? You're exhausted at night. You just cannot wait to just get into bed and get to sleep. And then your brain's like, wow, now I have your attention. Let's ruminate. Let's start thinking about all the things that could go wrong. Our brains love to be busy. At night, we need to find ways to turn it off. So one of my suggestions is journaling before bed. Write down all your worries, write down all your fears, write down your to-do list, write it all down. It'll be there in the morning when you wake up, and you don't need to be kind of trying to save those ideas or keep them on your mind. And I listened to a lot of podcasts on sleep, and a suggestion, if you have trouble going to sleep or you're starting to ruminate, is to think of a happy event in your life. It can't happen that same day. It has to be in the past. But picture that happy event in detail. And so this is really soothing to your brain because, one, your brain is happy to be in that situation. And it also is conjuring up all the detail of that happy event. And that distracts from the negative thinking, the ruminating, the conversation, I'm going to solve all my problems right now here in bed. So I think that's a nice strategy, and I've been using that some, and I think it's a way to try something new to try. So coping with waking at night, it is totally normal to wake at night. It is okay. I don't think it's normal to sleep for 8 hours straight. Like, human beings have always, you need to be able to come in and out of deep sleep, light sleep. There's different types of sleep at night. So we do wake up. But I think one thing in our culture now is we use our phone for our alarm. We use our phone for our nightlight. We use our phone for everything. So the minute we wake up, we're like, oh, I need my light, or what time is it? And then it just activates scrolling, or we're just kind of more tempted to head on into our phone and find new things to look and watch. But you can buy a cheap battery clock that isn't overly bright, and it won't tempt you to scroll. So I think avoiding temptations like that can be a good strategy. If you wake up because you really have to go to the bathroom, definitely go. Use a really dim light because your room is already super dark, right? But pay attention if you're getting into the habit of, oh, I'm awake, I'll go to the bathroom just in case. This creates a kind of a vicious habit loop that it's like your body trying to protect you because you don't want to not go to the bathroom in the middle of the night. But if we keep doing it too often, our bladder gets a little too chatty with our brain and creates a habit of just like, oh, I'll go just in case. And that doesn't really work. So if you do wake up, avoid all the bright lights and look into your lifestyle. If you're waking up at 3 o'clock every morning, what is your diet like? What is your stress like? Are you physically tired or are you just mentally and emotionally drained? So working with a coach, a therapist, whatever it is you need to find ways to manage your stress in the day so that you get that sleep at night. Because we talked about sleep starts when you wake up. And that I think that's so true. So I'd like to just say thank you. And the best bridge between despair and hope is a good night's sleep. So find where I am again here.
Thank you very much, Kathryn.
Absolutely.
So now, everybody, we can get to those questions. We did have a question, Kathryn, in the comments that was when you were talking about the sort of countdown of sleep that started with 10 hours of abstaining from caffeine before going to sleep. What about exercise? Where does that fit into that countdown?
I don't think that's a great question. In my research and in the reading I've done is that you don't want to exercise probably 2 hours before bed. That increases your adrenaline. And when you increase adrenaline, you're just more stimulated, like if you're watching true crime or whatever. So I think that exercise a couple hours before bed is a if you're struggling with sleep. If it works for you to exercise and then take a shower and go to bed, that's great. But if you are struggling with sleep, I'd encourage you to exercise earlier in the day.
Any questions? Just feel free to unmute and go ahead and ask those at this time.
Yeah.
Hi, yeah, I'm curious to know if there are any studies, Kathryn, that talk about like activities, like let's say you drink your coffee in the morning in your bed, or you have a small bedroom and that's like where people come and sit before, you're going to later go to sleep. Is there any study that you know about of those like associations that would cause like additional sleep issues?
You mean like in the morning, like things happening in your bed in the morning?
Kind of just like in general at any time, if it's anything different than sleeping. I'm just
I
curious to know. I did
oh
read a
yeah,
study on that.
there is I don't know that it necessarily research, but in people that write different books about sleep is that we want our bed to be for sleep and time with our partner, or that's about it. Like watching TV, scrolling, hanging out for hours in bed before sleep is can create different dynamics that you're not your body just needs to go into that cool dark room ready for bed, go to sleep. I think anything in the morning, I, I I have a personal rule that I don't want to be on my phone in bed. Like to me, that I'm trying to keep that really separate. And so the alarm goes off, I'm up and out and away from my bed. And I know people working from home, you're working, sometimes they work in their bedroom. And that can be challenging too, because it doesn't feel like your oasis for sleep. It feels like now like your office too. And that can just be a little confusing to your brain. Thank you for the
Thank
question.
you.
Did I answer that?
Yeah, thank you for that. I appreciate it.
Hey, Kathryn, this is Kelly. I stuck a question in the chat. I'm not sure if you saw it, but in the last week, Sean has actually reported to me that once I snored so much that he had to leave the room. And then the next night he had to check and make sure I was breathing because I was so quiet. So is that indicative of a problem or just normal, maybe my throat was swollen one night or something. I don't know.
Right. And I think, I think as we get older, we definitely snore more. That can be from mouth breathing or mouth open, being having a cold, being sick. I think a certain amount of like deeper breathing, more alternating and breathing. Maybe we snore a little bit or we're laying in a different position that could affect it. But maybe a head tilt on your bed, pillows, or being able to raise your bed up and down a little bit to maybe prevent your jaw or chin from opening or that mouth strap, anything like that. But does he say you typically snore all the time?
Probably it's gotten worse as I've gotten older, I'm sure.
No. Yeah,
Yeah.
we get a lot of our musculature in our neck and throat area relax a little bit more. And I know that you can work through your primary care provider and they can prescribe a sleep study that you can do from home. So I think if you have a bigger
Oh,
sleep
cool.
issue, you can go to a sleep clinic. NIH has one, but you can do a sleep study from home and gather some information that way. And also tracking your sleep on your phone because mine shows how restless I am, my oxygen saturation, I think, how much deep in REM I got, how many times I was awake, how many minutes I was awake. So I think tracking that for a couple weeks, even though it's not completely accurate, gives you trends.
Okay, thank you. Nothing that I
Hope
need
you
to
don't
run
snore
to the
anymore,
doctor
Kelly.
for.
I hope you don't snore anymore.
Thanks.
Any other questions? Well, I appreciate you all joining and I wish you a good night rest and feel free to email me anytime if you're some questions. It's just something I'm interested in. I'm not a physician, but I feel like there's a lot of great information out there that we can try one strategy at a time to see how that works for us, to see if we can make some shifts in our sleep. And other things definitely distract us. And one night doesn't make who you are or and how you're going to sleep for the rest of the week. So be patient with yourself. Oh, I can't hear you.
We do have a couple of questions in the chat, it looks like. Do you have time to answer those?
I do.
Sure. So one is my partner is a really light sleeper, and they request that we do not hang out casually in the bedroom as it can affect the quality of their sleep. I find it a bit extreme, so I thought I'd ask the question to see if you had heard of this disruptive associations, and thank you for answering.
Hmm. That was kind of the question that Lorena, you had asked about in the morning. So some people I think probably are really light sleepers and that they need, maybe they should wear earplugs or something to block out noise. But I mean, if someone's bumping the bed or things like that, um, I think that would be disruptive or but you know, your feet on the floor makes sound. So I'm not sure. I think that's something you probably have to keep negotiating with your partner to see what's the most disruptive sound or movement that's causing them to feel frustrated. So oh, and Marnie says she got a new bed, lower back pain went away. Awesome. All right. Exercise. Yeah, the position we sleep into, definitely side versus back versus elevating your head, pillows, things like that. So, yeah. Well, thank you so much.
Excellent. Thank you, Catherine. This will be our
Yeah.
final lunch and learn just for the month of November. Starting in December, we have our next lunch and learn given to us by Marnie Babbitt on setting boundaries, and that will be Wednesday, December, December 4th
Ready?
at noon. So hopefully we'll see you all back then, and you all have a wonderful holiday here. Yeah. Thanks
Thank
for
you,
coming.
George. Really
Thank
nice.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye, y'all.